Good morning, YouTube. Further 73 here on a Saturday morning, and I have, as you can see, retreated out to my winter shop. And thought today, I've gotten a lot of compliments on the pipes that I showed off last time, so I thought today I would break this guy out. And I've been smoking it through the week, about a half a bowl every morning and another half every evening all week long. And you can see it's, you can't really see it, but anyway, the inside of the bowl is black now instead of natural wood, and it's starting to break in. So I thought this morning, while I've got some time here, I'd just sit out here by the fire and load it up with its first full bowl and enjoy some Frogmorton Cellar this morning with a nice cup of fresh brewed coffee. So, as you can see from my breath, winter shop still hasn't warmed up quite yet. The fire's still working on recovering, or rather overtaking the cold, but it'll be warm here before long. Once I start blowing smoke, you won't even notice that it's actually still a little cool in here this morning. But now I'm packing this guy up. It'll be the first full bowl I've smoked out of it, and it's actually a little more generous in capacity than what I thought it was going to be. I wanted to, this pipe was really kind of an experiment to see how big a piece I could get off of that little lathe that I've got back there behind you all. And come to find out, this is about as big a stumble as I can turn. And it's a little over 3 inches long. I mean, it's about 4 3/4 overall from the bowl to the tip of the bit. And I drilled the bowl out at 7/8 of an inch in diameter, and it's a little over an inch deep. And I found that on my morning 1 hour commute that a half a bowl will last me from the time I leave my driveway until I get all the way to the shop down in Plainfield that I work out of. So I'm guessing that filling this guy up is going to be at least an hour and a half worth of good smoke. I got my nice little I Am Corona Old Boy here that I'm using to light. I like a soft flame. Matches are fine, but if you're not careful, they'll char the top of your bowl, char the rim. Zippos are great outdoors, but since I picked up this little Old Boy, that's about all I've been using. I'll use it almost exclusively unless I'm outside. Then I found myself grabbing a Bic, and honestly can't remember the last time I picked up my old Zippo. Excuse me. I thought I'd better do this today because all week long I've been riding with a guy that's had a hell of a head cold, and I think I'm starting to pick it up, and I wanted to do this while I could still taste it. But this is the little chubby billiard reverse calabash that I made. It actually smokes very well. It's the first reverse calabash I've ever smoked, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I like the way it turned out. I mean, it's not a top quality artisan job by any means, but I don't think it's too bad for my first attempt at turning a full-size pipe on the lathe, and my first attempt at a reverse calabash, both to make or to smoke. I appreciate the compliments you guys have given me on this thing. I've gotten a fair amount of response from the Dagners and Eddie Gray over at Haunted Tank and a few other guys that seem to think it's a nice looking pipe, and I really appreciate the compliments. It was a lot of fun to make it, and I plan on doing several more. And who knows, maybe if I get carried away, I'll farm a few of them off to people outside of the family. Currently, the only people that have ever smoked one of my pipes is my father and myself. But hanging up here, just off a camera range, you can hear it. I've got a few more blocks of briar hanging up there. And I'm getting ready to order some more vulcanite rod and a little more briar, so I'll probably have a few more in the works. I'm currently working on a reverse calabash stubby poker. And I thought I might keep it for myself. I also thought that since I'm getting kind of close to 100 subs, that maybe I'd have some kind of a contest when I reach 100 or 100 plus and maybe give it away. And my father's actually been out here while I've been making this and really enjoyed watching the process, and he's really envious of it, so I may just give it to him for Christmas and do something else for my contest. I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do for a contest, but keep an eye on my subs, and when they break 100, which I'm about 12 away from that right now, when I break 100, I'll come up with some kind of a contest, and I'll probably give away a pipe that I've made as the top prize. So stay tuned and see what's going on with that. But anyway, this is the stummel that I've turned down. I think I might have showed this briefly earlier, but this is the stummel that I've gotten turned for the reverse calabash chubby poker. There's a little cotton down in the shank right now. I was working on staining it and had a rod jammed in there to hold it while I put the stain on. I've given it an initial coat of black stain and sanded most of that off, and what that does is it kind of highlights that grain for me, and it also, as you can see here, there's a big gouge or a scratch running right here. It kind of highlights the imperfections and things and shows me where I need to go back and do a little more sanding and file work around where the shank and the bowl come together. And you know, you can see I got a little, I guess you'd call it a sand pit, but really this is sort of a cross grain. There's a little bird's eye in here, and that's one of the little nubs from a bird's eye that kind of chunked out of there as I turned it down, and then it's another one down there. Haven't decided if I'm going to leave those and just make it smooth and say, you know what, the hell with it, that's it's part of the natural look of it, or if I'm going to maybe rusticate around those on the sides a little bit, or what I'm going to do. Maybe do an epoxy fill and try to blend it and make it look decent. Hell, I don't know, but we'll see how it comes out. I plan on getting this thing finished up either today or tomorrow. I want to do another Cumberland stem on it, since the Cumberland Ebonite's the only rod stock that I've got right now, so it'll get a Cumberland stem. Plan on getting maybe a different color of Cumberland and just some plain black ebonite here in the near future, so I can do something other than, you know, the Cumberland stem, which, you know, it's really one of my favorites, but, you know, this is probably the 4th or 5th stem that I've made out of that rod of Cumberland that I've got, and I'm kind of getting, believe it or not, I'm kind of getting tired of looking at that swirl. Even though it's really cool, I'm kind of ready for a change of scenery when it comes to working on this stuff. So I think I'll get some just plain black ebonite. The source I got that rod from offers it in a couple of different color combinations, and it's still ebonite instead of acrylic. And, you know, acrylic's nice because it doesn't oxidize, but I really prefer the feel of vulcanite in my teeth, and I haven't actually worked with any acrylic other than to, you know, sand down a couple of pre-made stems. But in the limited experience that I've got with acrylic, I like to work the vulcanite better. And I definitely like the way it feels in my teeth better. Now, you know, that being said, I've got some acrylic stems that I really do like the feel of, like my Joe Case Slayer I like real well. You know, I've got a couple of others. I got a couple 7Ls that actually have acrylic stems that feel very nice. But by and large, I prefer the vulcanite or the ebonite. This thing smokes really well. Glad I got up here to smoke it before my taste goes away. Starting to lose it. Some things I got coming up here in the near future. I received a box in the mail yesterday from Dagner Pipes and Mr. Jason Dagner and the gang. But I was told when it showed up that I couldn't open it until Christmas because that was my Christmas present. So, just after Christmas, look for a second run box opening on that. And I talked to Rick Farah down at Briarville earlier in the week, and he's got my church warden conversion finished. You may remember that pipe from one of my early videos. It's in the mail on its way back. Really kind of hoping it shows up today. If it does, I'll come back out here this afternoon and do a box opening on that and give it a smoke. And Alex Bird, Birdman5691, had his 125 plus sub contest, and I was fortunate enough to find myself a runner-up on that, and he's got something in the mail for me as well. Hasn't showed up yet, but as soon as it does, I'll bring it out here by the fire, and we'll open it up and see what my runner-up consolation prize was. Looking forward to that too. It's really nice to get things in the mail from around the community, and even if it's stuff that you've ordered from Pipes and Cigars, it's fun to see that box come in the mail. It makes you feel like a kid again. Stopped in at my local brick and mortar tobacconist this week. Like I said, if you saw my VR to Alex for his contest, we've got a small brick and mortar here in town that for a small town of about 15,000 actually does a pretty good job of stocking some nice premium cigars and some tobaccos for the pipe. And anyway, I walked in there yesterday evening after work and found they had a nice selection of Drew Estate tins, so I picked up a couple of those. Picked up another tin of meat pie, which I tried back in September right before the Southern Fried Pipe Show. Really nice, I'd say medium English or Balkan style blend. It's pretty tasty. Burns well, it's a ribbon cut. Packs really easy, burns very, very well. Got a nice smoky Latakia flavor to it, but it's not overbearing by any means. And then I also picked up a tin of toasted black Cavendish from Drew Estate. Haven't tried that one. I suspect it's going to be a little more on the aromatic side, being a Cavendish, but maybe over the holidays I'll crack into that and smoke some of it, give you some impressions on that. Boy, this thing is nice. That smoke is very, very cool coming through that fat shank. I know it's, see if I can dig this cotton out here on this other stummel that I've got and show you that. It's not quite as big a chamber as what some of the artisan makers are putting out there right now. Some of those are the reverse calabash portions as large as the bowl. And I didn't have a chunk of briar I could get a 7/8 shank out of, but see in there, you see the draft hole way at the back there. It's it's a little over an inch, probably an inch and a quarter, inch and a half deep maybe, and it's a ½ inch in diameter. And that's the same thing on here, but as you can see, the stummel is just a little bit longer on my billiard here. But with any kind of luck at all, this would be a great little smoker as well. But I'm really enjoying this reverse calabash kind of thing. It's got a nice wide open draw, and no bite, no gurgle. This thing is yet to gurgle. And sometimes when I'm driving, I really kind of puff the crap out of it while I'm just buzzing down the highway. But it's never gotten hot on me. You can get the bowl hot enough that you don't really want to touch it, which I realize is not good. But you can get the bowl good and hot, and the smoke still comes through nice and cool. So I'm going to call it a success. And like I said, thank you everybody for the comments and compliments on the pipe. And I have just run over 15 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and check out, finish this bowl, stoke up the fire, and we'll catch you next time around, YouTube. Thanks for watching.